What if I told you the happiest people in America don't live in Hollywood with the stars, or in New York with the skyscrapers, or even Miami with the beach parties? Nope. In fact, some of the happiest states in the US will completely shock you because they're not what you think. Happiness isn't just sunshine, cocktails, or palm trees. Sometimes it's snow boots and maple syrup. Sometimes it's cheese curds and football. And sometimes it's just being surrounded by people who actually wave back when you wave first. Think about it. When was the last time you felt genuinely happy where you live? Not just, I found $5 in my jeans happy, but the kind where your whole lifestyle, your neighbors, and even the landscape around you make life feel good. That's what these states have figured out. So buckle up, because in the next few minutes, we're taking a road trip through the happiest corners of America. And by the end, you'll be asking yourself one question: why am I not living there already? By the way, if you're into videos that show you the best and worst places to live in the US, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss what's coming next. State 1, Hawaii. Of course, we've got to start with the obvious, Hawaii. I mean, how could it not make the list? Imagine this, standing barefoot on a sandy beach, pineapple drink in one hand, warm ocean breeze in your face, and absolutely zero thought about traffic on I-95. Your biggest stress of the day? Whether to hit the waves, the trails, or just stay in a hammock and call it a win. Happiness here is almost mandatory. The slower pace, the aloha spirit, the culture that values connection over chaos, it all adds up. Studies even show Hawaiians consistently rank highest for life satisfaction and overall well-being. And let's be real, when your morning commute involves palm trees instead of potholes, you're already winning. Now, sure, the cost of living could punch your bank account harder than a heavyweight champ, but here's the kicker. When you live in paradise, do you really care? That daily sunset over the Pacific might just be worth every penny. But hey, maybe tropical islands aren't your thing. Maybe sunburn and sand in your shoes don't exactly scream happiness to you. Maybe you're more of a crisp mountain air, wide-open landscapes type of soul. If that sounds like you, then fact number 2 is going to have you lacing up your hiking boots before the video's even over. State 2, Utah. Now, let's trade in those palm trees for peaks that scrape the sky, Utah. And no, it's not just about those red rocks you've seen on a postcard or that Olympic logo from Salt Lake City you vaguely remember. Utah is about balance. Imagine this. You wake up on a Saturday, strap on some skis in the morning, go hiking by lunch, and by sunset, you're sipping hot cocoa while staring at mountain views so unreal they look like Mother Nature slapped an Instagram filter on them herself. Utah consistently ranks near the top for life satisfaction, and it's not hard to see why. It's adventure playground meets community haven. People here aren't just surrounded by natural beauty, they're actively living in it, every single day. And beyond the scenery, there's a culture of family, connection, and support that makes the state feel like one big, extended neighborhood. Sure, the dry air might chap your lips, and yes, the mountains can make you feel small, but maybe that's the point. Happiness here is about perspective. When you're staring at landscapes this massive, your daily worries suddenly feel tiny. But maybe, just maybe, mountains make you feel too small. Maybe you'd rather trade peaks for plates, and happiness for you comes fried, battered, and served with a side of cheese. Because let's be honest, joy isn't always found on a hiking trail. Sometimes it's in a basket of deep-fried curds. And that, my friends, is where we're headed next. And hey, if you're loving this little happiness tour of the US, make sure you subscribe, because I've got more lists coming that'll definitely surprise you. State 3, Wisconsin. Yep, Wisconsin. Go ahead and laugh, but here's the truth. When you combine Midwestern friendliness with an endless supply of cheese, you've basically hacked the human brain's reward system. Happiness here isn't complicated, it's gooey, it's grilled, and sometimes it squeaks when you bite into it. That's right, cheese curds. But Wisconsin isn't just about dairy. It's about community. Imagine this. Your neighbor knocks on your door, not because of a noise complaint, but because they've got extra bratwursts for the barbecue, and they figured, why not share? That's the culture here. People look out for one another, trust one another, and genuinely enjoy the simple pleasures. And when winter rolls in with its icy grip, Wisconsinites don't just endure it, they bundle up, crack open a spotted cow beer, and turn it into an excuse to gather. And let's not forget the Green Bay Packers. In Wisconsin, football isn't just a game, it's practically a statewide religion. Win or lose, the Packers bring people together, sparking pride, laughter, and maybe a few friendly arguments about who makes the best tailgate chili. So yeah, Wisconsin proves you don't need palm trees or ski resorts to be happy. Sometimes all it takes is good food, good friends, and a little Lambeau Leap spirit. Speaking of neighbors, though, what if your happiness doesn't just come from bratwursts and high fives, but from living in a place where kindness is so baked into the culture it has its own nickname? If that sounds like your vibe, then the next state might just surprise you. State 4, Minnesota. Minnesota. Where winters are brutal, but the heart's absolutely warm. They don't call it Minnesota nice for nothing. Imagine standing on a frozen lake in -10 degrees, your eyelashes turning into icicles, and still having someone cheerfully offer you hot cocoa like it's no big deal. That's just the vibe here. Happiness in Minnesota isn't about avoiding the cold, it's about embracing it. Families ice fish together, snowmobiles become daily transportation, and come summer, the land of 10,000 lakes turns into one giant playground of swimming, kayaking, and campfires. Add in some of the best healthcare systems in the country, strong education, and communities that actually look out for one another, and it's no wonder Minnesotans consistently rank high in life satisfaction. Sure, the winters test your patience, but Minnesotans don't waste time complaining. They're too busy enjoying life, even if it's while shoveling snow off the driveway. But maybe you'd rather swap snow boots for flip-flops. If endless sunshine and palm trees sound more like your definition of happiness, don't worry, our next state has exactly that, and then some. State 5, California. California, land of palm trees, movie stars, and avocado toast that sometimes costs more than your monthly Wi-Fi bill. But here's the kicker. Despite the earthquakes, the legendary traffic jams, and those $7 lattes, Californians still report higher well-being than most states. Why? Because when you're surrounded by sunshine, innovation, and endless opportunity, happiness has plenty of room to grow. Imagine hiking up a mountain trail at sunrise, grabbing a food truck taco for lunch, and hitting the beach by sunset all in the same day. From the redwoods up north to the deserts down south, California offers a little bit of everything, and people here thrive on that variety. Add in a culture that encourages chasing dreams, whether that's starting the next tech empire, writing your first screenplay, or just surfing until your legs give out, and suddenly, the chaos feels worth it. Yes, the price tag is steep, but many Californians see it as the cost of admission to a life that feels full, colorful, and endlessly inspiring. Now, that's cool, but let's be real, happiness isn't always about beaches and mountains. Sometimes it comes from feeling safe, supported, and deeply rooted in tradition. And that's exactly where our next state shines. Oh, and if you're nodding along like, yep, I could totally live there, smash that like button. Let's see how many future Hawaiians and Californians we've got in here. State 6, Massachusetts. Surprised? Don't be. Massachusetts has a way of making you feel like you're living in the middle of history and innovation at the same time. Think cobblestone streets in Boston blending right into cutting-edge biotech labs. It's home to Harvard, MIT, and some of the sharpest minds in the world. Education? Top tier. Healthcare? Among the best nationwide. And it's not just brains, there's pride, culture, and sports fever too. Picture yourself grabbing a Dunkin' coffee before catching a Red Sox game at Fenway, or strolling through historic Freedom Trail with your kids, knowing they've got access to some of the finest schools in the country. For many, that sense of stability and opportunity is priceless. But if Harvard vibes and baked beans aren't your thing, no worries. Let's head south, where life slows down, charm takes center stage, and community becomes the real secret ingredient to happiness. State 7, Virginia. Virginia is for lovers, and as it turns out, for happy people too. Here, history meets modern living in a way that feels balanced, not overwhelming. You've got colonial landmarks that whisper America's beginnings, rolling hills that beg for a Sunday drive, and thriving suburbs that give families both comfort and opportunity. Picture yourself hiking through Shenandoah National Park, the Blue Ridge Mountains stretching endlessly in front of you, and realizing stress doesn't always win here. Add in steady job markets near D.C., charming coastal towns like Virginia Beach, and that southern meets suburban lifestyle, and it's no wonder Virginians hold on to a sense of calm and pride. It's the kind of state where you can work hard during the week and still find yourself recharging in nature or at a historic festival come the weekend. And speaking of stress-free living, let's head to a state where happiness isn't just found, it's practically baked into the small-town charm. State 8, Vermont. Vermont, baby. Where the loudest traffic jam you'll hit is probably a herd of cows crossing the road. Known for its maple syrup, breathtaking fall foliage, and those postcard-perfect mountains, Vermont is proof that sometimes happiness is rooted in simplicity. Life here moves at a slower pace. Neighbors know your name. Farmers markets are part of the weekend routine, and the outdoors isn't something you visit, it's your backyard. Imagine waking up to crisp mountain air, sipping coffee on a porch while leaves turn fiery shades of red and gold, and realizing you don't need a big city skyline to feel fulfilled. Vermonters thrive on strong community ties, clean living, and the kind of balance that many people spend their whole lives chasing. And yes, when all else fails, you can drown even the toughest day in pancakes smothered with fresh, golden syrup. But if you think small towns are the only recipe for happiness, think again. Some states prove that joy can thrive in places that are big, bold, and booming too. State 9, Texas. Yep, Texas made the list. Surprised? Maybe. But here's the deal, happiness in the Lone Star State isn't just about cowboy boots and rodeos. It's the culture, the wide-open spaces, and that famous Southern hospitality that make people feel right at home. Picture this. You're standing under a sky so big it feels endless, biting into barbecue so smoky and tender it practically melts in your mouth, while a neighbor waves from their porch like you've been friends forever. Cities like Austin bring the music, tech, and nightlife, while small towns bring peace, slower living, and more stars than you've ever seen in the night sky. Texas has this unique balance, big dreams with plenty of room to chase them. And at the end of the day, whether you're in a buzzing city or a quiet ranch, there's this underlying pride and warmth that makes life here just sweeter. And finally, let's end on a state that often flies under the radar, but might just be the quiet MVP of happiness. Stick around until the end, because after Colorado, we've got a video on the 10 states people regret moving to, and trust me, you don't want to miss that before calling the moving truck. State 10, Colorado. Colorado is like that friend who's always outdoors, always smiling, and somehow never stressed. And honestly, it makes sense. Between the breathtaking Rockies, a booming job market, and a culture that practically worships the outdoors, happiness here isn't just an option, it's a lifestyle. Imagine waking up, grabbing your skis in winter or your mountain bike in summer, and within minutes, you're surrounded by trails, peaks, and views that belong on a postcard. Even cities like Denver and Boulder buzz with this unique energy, young, active, and health-focused. And let's not forget the craft beer scene, where grabbing a pint with friends feels less like going out and more like part of the Colorado way of life. There's balance here, opportunity without the burnout, adventure without the chaos, and a sense of freedom that comes from literally being on top of the world. Standing on a mountaintop, lungs full of crisp air, it's hard not to think, this is living. So whether it's sipping pineapple drinks in Hawaii, skiing in Utah, or breathing in the Rockies in Colorado, one thing is clear, happiness doesn't have one address. It's about finding the place that makes you feel alive. If you had fun traveling through these states with me today, make sure to hit that subscribe button so we can explore even more together. Don't even think about moving until you watch this next video, 10 states people regret moving to in 2025. Trust me, you don't want to pack your bags until you've seen that one. So, there you have it, 10 of the happiest states in the US. Maybe you're daydreaming about sipping a pineapple drink in Hawaii, maybe you're drooling over Wisconsin's cheese curds, or maybe Vermont's maple syrup is calling your name. The point is, happiness has a zip code, you just have to find the one that fits you best. Now I've gotta know, if you could teleport tomorrow, which of these states would you call home? Drop it in the comments. And if your state didn't make the list, well, maybe it's time for a little road trip.